right, so you're our first image here, Angelina, and your images are for the beauty and character portrait. And first here, we're looking at your character portrait. And you have your subject. You didn't identify who your subject was for these images, but just out in the backyard, throwing up a bunch of leaves into the sky, and they're falling down on her. And it has such a fun, playful, joyful expression that we're getting from her. It's giving us an insight into who she is and what her personality is like. So I think you did a really nice job with that communication of her joy or her personality here. Your settings all look good here. The background is a bit distracting, right? So we have this really loose and open expression happening as she's throwing the leaves up, but then we have a tree directly behind her and then a fence behind that. So we're kind of stopping the motion right behind her. And then as we move even further back, we're fenced in, which is the opposite of what you're communicating with this image. So I would encourage you just to shoot this in another location where we're not seeing a background that begins to compete with the theme of your image. And that's what I'm getting here. So maybe moving her further away from there and then blurring it out completely by having a wider aperture, that might work. But it might just be that you have to move to a different location where there's more openness behind her. And then this image you have for her beauty portrait. So very different in intent between these two. And that's really the goal, or part of the goal of this assignment, is that we can see that there's a clear delineation between what we're expecting from a character portrait and what we're expecting from a beauty portrait. And here you have her in studio, you have artificial lighting on her, like you've completely flipped how we're seeing her. So this is a much more serious pose that we're looking at. The background is a black curtain of some sort. It's really not adding or taking away anything from the image. It's all about her right now. And we're not learning any more about her by the surroundings. So it's much more of a beauty shot. Now, as we look a little bit closer here, it looks like there's a little bit of movement in her eyes. It's not quite as sharp as like the lines here are. We can see there's a little bit of a lack of sharpness there. And I'm thinking that there might just be a slight bit of movement since this is at 1/15 of a second. Also, I would pull up the lighting a little bit. The brightest area on her is going to be kind of her chest there and her stomach. And we really want it to be a little bit heavier on her, the lighting a little bit heavier on her face and then fall off a little bit more. So right now it looks like it's above her, but maybe it's pointing at a harder angle. So just shifting that up a little bit so we're having the main part of the light illuminating her face, and then it kind of falls off as it goes down her body. Another thing to consider regarding lighting would be to create a hair light of some sort, having a light behind her to illuminate the backside of her hair so there's more separation between her hair and the curtain here because those start to blend together a little bit. But regarding the intent of the image, I think you did a good job creating a delineation between a character portrait and a beauty portrait here. Little things for you to adjust in both of them to make them even stronger. But I think you have a solid platform here that you understand what we're looking for.